How to get and keep a job in 2021. Hey, what's up guys? This video is some advice on how to get a job as well as maintain and get promoted within that job in 2021 from somebody other than your activist friend on Instagram who thinks what's fair is getting a job that pays a lot simply for existing. No, in fact, my mindset's a lot different, and this video is a little different from the typical mindset videos I post, but it is mindset related and really mindset specific. So I'd like to share some perspective coming from the employer side on how to get a job and how to maintain that job in 2021. What I believe is fair is the person who works the hardest and who provides the most value is going to get rewarded the most. That's how I see things, and that tends to be how a lot of other employers or people in positions of hiring or power really see things. Employers do have the luxury of looking to fill a position and then picking from multiple candidates. When you're the one looking to get the job, you don't necessarily have that luxury. So if you want to sit around and demand getting a job or feel entitled in some way or another, good luck finding a job. What can get you the job though is really setting yourself apart from others. Now there are certain ways of doing that. Obviously qualifications are going to be important for some jobs, especially technical jobs. When I was hiring contractors at my gym, I was hiring personal trainers, and that's a very technical job. But even then, there were things that I looked for more than just the qualifications. The qualifications, in my opinion, and in many other people's opinions, are just the basics. Like, that's the bare minimum, meaning you went to college, you got the certification, you did something that says, hey, you can now start this job. It's the bare minimum. And the reason I say that is because when it comes to technical skills, or really skills that aren't necessarily interpersonal communication skills, which I'll get to in a second, skills, handyman jobs, labor, stuff like that is teachable, whereas values that people possess and that people demonstrate are not necessarily teachable. So most of the time when I'm looking to hire somebody or I'm looking to bring somebody on my team, I look into whether they're or not they're qualified, but it's not necessarily a pass or fail from the beginning. If somebody is qualified and then they also show me that they have the values that I'm looking for in an employee, it's going to be an easy choice at that point, but that's not always the case. Sometimes people come to us and they aren't qualified, but they are awesome people, and then vice versa. Sometimes people come to us and they're qualified, but they don't necessarily have the best values, or their values don't align with ours, and that makes it a little bit more challenging of a decision. But if you ask me, and in my opinion, if you ask many people, we're gonna go for the underqualified person who has the values that align with our companies, as opposed to the qualified person who doesn't necessarily share the same values, or we don't see eye to eye with, really. So if you're watching this video and you're stressed out about not being qualified or whatnot, definitely, I'm not saying don't get qualified, I'm not saying don't go to school or don't learn. Obviously, always learning and always improving is a great thing. But just know that it's not necessary to make a lot of money. You don't have to go to a lot of school to make a lot of money. And in fact, I think most entrepreneurs aren't even educated. They have experience. They have interpersonal communication skills. They know how to communicate with others. They're trustworthy. They're hardworking. There's a lot of personal characteristic traits that are going to make you a quality candidate when looking for a job. Obviously, being a hard worker is one of them. Nobody wants to hire anybody who's lazy. And let me tell you what, teaching somebody how to train a client is much easier than teaching somebody how to not be lazy or how to take initiative. So if you're somebody who takes initiative, you're a hard worker, you're willing to work yourself up the chain, just know that you can learn the skills that your job may demand, and you can work your way up within that job. But if you have the qualifications and you lack good characteristic traits, that's going to be a lot harder to convince somebody to hire you. So the person you are you trustworthy? Are you a hard worker? Are you a team player? Are going to be the most important. If those are not something you focused on your whole life and you're a self-absorbed person, look into figuring out how to change that. Now, obviously hiring a good person is of utmost importance to any employer. But one thing in my opinion stands out a lot more than any other thing, and that is the vision. Does the vision of the employee or the potential employee match that of the company's, or is that individual just looking to leverage the company? Another common misconception in my opinion is that businesses are created, or that businesses should be taking care of the employee. When, like I said, the demand is greater for the businesses. People need jobs more than jobs need employees. Now, I get it that a business can't run without employees, but let me just say that there are a lot more potential candidates to pick from than there are jobs for employees to pick from. So if you think you're somebody that is entitled and thinks they deserve a job for whatever reason, or you're doing it strictly for personal gain, just know that that's probably going to hurt you in your job hunt. Sharing the same vision with a company that's who companies and business owners want to hire. When I was looking for trainers, like I said, if they were qualified, that was point A. Now we got to work our way down the line to see what else these people have that they can contribute to our team. Vision was always the number one thing. If somebody came to me and they're like, look, I'm not certified, I've never trained clients anymore, but I'm dying to help people improve their lives. I personally did it. I went through the transformation myself, and I want to help people feel that. That's going to be the number one thing that I really looked for, because like I said, we can train them to train clients. We can train them to make sales, and we can train them to communicate with people. But if they're passionate and invested in what they're trying to accomplish, they're going to get the work done. So having a vision that aligns with your employer is going to be number one. And if you've ever been to a job interview, a lot of the times they'll ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And typically what they're looking for is for you to say that you're doing something productive or great within their company. If you say you're looking to go be a trainer somewhere because you want to open up your own gym one day, now I valued that because my job was to bring up personal trainers. But if we're talking about a corporate gym or somewhere where you're working for them and you're creating revenue for them, they're not necessarily going to like that answer. They're going to want your vision to align with their vision. So if you're looking to get a job with somebody and they have a motto, learn that motto. Learn a little bit about the history about the company. Like I said, obviously being a hard worker and having good, solid characteristic traits that are going to help you contribute to the team is going to be great. But learn about the company itself. Learn about what their vision is, their values. If your vision and your values can align with theirs, that's going to be huge for getting a job. Like I said, for me being the owner of the gym, my goal was to give people opportunity. My vision at that facility was to help trainers become entrepreneurs and help them to grow a business. So when somebody came to me and they're like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to grow my own training business and I want to impact people on a different level. That was going to be the one deciding factor where I was like, okay, you know what? I think you have a solid base. Let's take you from there. And I'd be willing to actually put in the work to help that person grow. Now, when people came to me and they were like, oh, I've been training bodybuilders for this amount of time and I have these qualifications and this and that, but their vision didn't align with ours. They were doing it strictly for personal gain, which again, I mean, it's not a bad thing. They were entrepreneurs, but their vision didn't align with us. Then it was like, cool, man, you got all this experience as a IFBB pro, which for those of you who don't know, that's a professional bodybuilder. You have all this experience, but it really doesn't mean much to me. A good business and a good team creates a culture, and that culture allows everybody to grow together. If you're bringing people on your team that don't have the same vision as you, they're not necessarily going to contribute to your culture. So from the employee's perspective, you need to come into a company not just demanding a job or demanding a certain pay because it's what's fair, but you need to be willing to improve their culture. You need to be willing to provide something to them. Now, one thing I want to talk about is playing favorites, because as an employer and as a team leader, it's not uncommon for somebody to think that you're playing favorites with somebody. And I tell them, you know what? You're absolutely right. So-and-so is my favorite, but you know why? It's probably not because what you think. From an outsider's perspective, people think that favorites are just family members, or they think they're people who do special favors. But in reality, when you're running a business, you're not playing favorites because you like the person's skin color. You're not playing favorites because it is a family member or because you just like the person, because you like drinking with them on the weekend. In fact, no successful business owner hires people just because they're good buddies. They tend to hire and favor the people who are providing more value to that company. So what I would always tell people is, yes, I'm giving these people these privileges or I'm doing this for them, but that's because this person makes my job less stressful. That's because they make my job easier, whereas you are making my job harder and you're making it more stressful. In the business world, people don't just get hooked up because they know somebody. You have to know somebody, but also provide the value. Yeah, you probably get looked at first because you know them, but I can guarantee you that if my son was a drug addict or a jackass, he wouldn't be working for me in a high position. People who provided the value to me would. Now, if my son does have the good characteristic traits and he is a hard worker and I can trust him, obviously he's gonna get first choice because yes, he does. I do know him. That's the importance of having a great network. If you wanna get a job, that's another thing you should keep in mind is networking. Get into people's network and show them what kind of value you provide. But like I said, if my own family member was a shithead, I'm not necessarily gonna hire him, and I don't know many other business owners who would. So if you think that people are just getting hooked up because they're a family member, well, there's more that goes into it. They're part of their network, but they provide that value. So if you not only want to get a job, but you want to maintain that job, provide value to your employer. Think of ways that you can make their job less stressful. Think of ways that you can make it easier on them. If you're making their job harder if you're entitled, if you're always demanding things, if you're doing the bare minimum, you're not gonna get much positive attention. That's just how it works. Like I said, it's not just bosses aren't just favoring whoever's their buddy. They're favoring people who make them more money. And not in a bad way, but a business's job is to produce revenue. That way they can pay employees. That way they can pay themselves. That way they can grow and expand their business. If you're just doing enough to collect your own paycheck and you're not contributing enough to grow that business and to grow their brand, there's not going to be any reason to favor you and offer you either job positions or opportunities in the future. So first step, be known, put yourself out there, get into people's networks, go shake some hands, send some emails, let people have an idea of who you are, whether you think you're qualified or not. Show them that your vision aligns with them, and then show them the value you can provide to their company. One thing you need to consider is you may start at an entry-level position where you're making minimum wage, but that's okay because there are opportunities within every company to grow. And like I said, whoever's favored, whoever is providing the most value to the boss and who's making their job less stressful is going to be the one who gets noticed. And that one who gets noticed is going to get the opportunities and they're going to grow. Like I said in the beginning of the video, guys, the businesses aren't there to give people good jobs because their rent or their mortgage is high. I think a lot of businesses would like to do great things like that, but you have to understand that it's very strategic. A business needs the right people in the right positions to continue to grow. If you're that person, you're probably going to get that position, but you can't sit around and expect a business to hire you simply because you got bills to pay. If that's not going to help the business in the long run, there's going to be no desire for them to hire you. How you can get hired by a business is by having a vision that aligns with them. You know, having all those characteristic traits that makes a good person. Like, who would you want in a friend? That's who your employers are going to want in an employee, is somebody that they can trust, somebody that's reliable, somebody that's dependable, somebody who is willing to communicate with them and be honest to them, somebody who's going to work hard, not just demand things. Things that people value in people are things that bosses value in potential employees. Get in the network. Make sure people who know who you are. Yeah, you exist, but there's a lot of people who exist. The world is a big place. You have to stand out. You have to be known. Get into people's networks. And then once you are, show them how you can provide value to them. Show them that your vision aligns with their vision. You're not looking to get a job because of the hourly rate. You're looking to get a job because you believe in what that company has to offer. You can embed into their culture and provide some value to their culture. I know a lot of this might seem confusing at times, but it really just comes down to the person you are and what you can provide to that business. Remember, guys, life is all about creating opportunities for yourself. Things aren't just going to fall into your lap. They may occasionally, but like they said, luck is when hard work meets opportunity. Hard work and consistency. Constantly be that hard worker who shares the vision and who is trying to better not only themselves, but better the culture of a company, better the brand name and the image of that company, and you're likely to get hired. Definitely maintain that job and get promoted within that job. But you're not going to get there just by being an activist. I'm sorry. You're not just going to get there by demanding it. The people in power, employers, investors, business owners, they will find a way to make it work for them no matter what. Just because laws are passed or regulations are passed doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to handpick who they want in their company and the positions that fill that company. So instead of just complaining about these things, make yourself that unique individual. Be that hard worker, be the one who's trustworthy, who shares the image and who's willing to grow that brand, and you're likely to get that job and maintain it. Hopefully this helped you guys. If you think you know somebody who can benefit from this video, go ahead and share it with them, tag them, comment below whether you agree with me or not, whether you think I'm an asshole or not, I don't know. Like I said, this is coming from an employer's perspective. I've hired many employees, I've hired contractors, I've had people work for me, and I can tell you that a lot of people in my position kind of see things the same way. So take it for what you will. If you, like I said, if you want to think I'm just an asshole and I'm unfair, by all means. But if you truly want to make a difference in your life and be that person who stands out and is unique, follow these steps I gave you in this video. Like, comment, share. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos. And until the next one, take care, guys.